All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our BCBA practice question series. We're going through another set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. When you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. Glenn is implementing a differential reinforcement procedure to decrease a client's repetitive vocalizations. The client tends to repeat the same phrase over and over again throughout the day. Glenn wants to reduce how often the client repeats the phrase each day. What should Glenn not target for behavior change? So we're looking at a behavior change question, and the key word here is going to be not. We're trying to figure out what Glenn shouldn't target to achieve his goal. Now, when we're looking at behavior change and what to target, we're going to be thinking about measurement because measurement should reflect our goals. What is Glenn trying to achieve? Well, he has this differential reinforcement procedure and he wants to decrease this client's repetitive vocalizations. So let's just say we have 5 vocalizations. We want that to go down. They're repeating the same phrase over and over throughout the day. So if he wants to reduce how often that happens, 5 to whatever it may be, what should he not target? A decrease in rate. Well, if we go from 5 times a day to 3 times a day, that's a decrease in rate and a reduction in how often the phrase is said. So A looks okay. B, an increase in inter-response time. If we go from the phrase being said every 2 hours to every 4 hours, that's an increase in inter-response time, time in between behavior, and that would decrease how often the phrase is said each day. So B looks pretty good. C, a decrease in frequency. If we go from 5 to 3, that's also going to decrease how often the phrase is said. If we look at D, a decrease in inter-response time, that's going to be the opposite of B. If we go from every 4 hours to every 2 hours, let's say that phrase is repeated, now the phrase is going to happen more. So if we're trying to decrease something, we don't want to decrease that inter-response time. We would want to increase that inter-response time. So Glenn, if he's trying to decrease or reduce how often the client repeats the phrase each day, he should target a decrease in inter-response time. Joe, a behavior analyst, starts a social media page for his ABA clinic. Joe starts to post testimonials from prior clients with their consent and with disclaimers. Joe also claims in some of his posts that his company will provide noticeable behavior change within 6 months and provides data backing up this claim. Has Joe done anything wrong? So we have a couple different things going on here, right? We're thinking about a few different ethical situations. First, the social media page for the ABA clinic. Can you have a professional social media page for a business? You can. What you're not allowed to do is post to your personal social media page, clients, and that sort of thing. But if you have a business or a professional page, that is allowed under certain terms. Then Joe starts posting testimonials from former clients with consent and with disclaimers. Can we use testimonials from past clients? You can with consent and with disclaimers. Joe hasn't necessarily done anything wrong here. Joe then claims that some of his posts that the company will provide behavior change within 6 months. Well, even though Joe provides data showing that maybe they can, is that statement going to potentially mislead future clients and customers about the capabilities of behavior analyst? Yes, we should never guarantee behavior change on a timeline because when we're dealing with humans, which we are, it's unpredictable, it's day to day, and things change quickly. Even if past results from Joe have shown that in 6 months they have changed, doesn't guarantee the next client is going to see that level of change. So we can't misrepresent ABA or ourselves in public statements. So has Joe done anything wrong? And notice how we attack the question and we don't jump to the answer choice. That's the approach you need to take. We already know the answer, and now we can quickly find it. A, Joe should not have a social media page for an ABA business. A professional page is fine within the restrictions of the ethical code. B, Joe cannot post prior client testimonials. In this case, he can. He has consent. He has disclaimers. That's fine. C, Joe cannot make claims about treatment timelines. We should not make claims about treatment timelines. They're potentially misleading and potentially misrepresent our business as ABA professionals and behavior analysts themselves. D, Joe has done nothing wrong. Well, Joe shouldn't be making claims about treatment timelines. A personal trainer wants to evaluate the impact of a new workout regimen on a client's strength gains. The trainer records the client's baseline performance for number of push-ups for 2 weeks, introduces the workout regimen, and continues measuring push-ups per day, comparing the data to the baseline. Which principle of single case design is being demonstrated when the client's own performance under the new regimen is compared to the baseline? Long question and kind of a difficult question on the surface, but let's just think about this, right? When we think about single subject design or single case design, which is what we typically use in ABA, we have some principles. And one of those core principles is we're taking individuals and we're comparing their performance to intervention to their own baseline. In this case, we have a trainer who's evaluating this workout regimen. He is taking baseline number of push-ups for 2 weeks. He then introduces intervention and then compares the client back to baseline. So he gets a baseline. Let's just make up a graph. Let's say this is a baseline, and then this is intervention. He's going to compare the client's intervention to their baseline. What is that principle of single case design? A, using a randomly assigned control group. We don't have a control group here, right? We just have our clients comparing their own performance to prior performance or prior phases. B, using the individual as their own control. Yes, this is what we mean when we use the individual as their own control. We are comparing the individual's performance to their past performance and their past baseline. Without any intervention, what have they done? That's our baseline. With intervention, how does it compare to their baseline? C, using a changing criterion design. It doesn't appear to be a changing criterion design, although it doesn't specify. We don't have enough evidence that C could be the answer. D, comparing across multiple baselines. We know we're not looking at multiple baselines, right? We have one baseline, one participant or one client, and we're using that client or individual or participant as their own control. That is the principle of single case design that is demonstrated here. Maya is driving home from running errands when she sees a Chipotle restaurant. Maya hasn't had Chipotle in a while, so she considers getting it today. Maya also has leftovers at her house from last night's dinner that she was looking forward to eating. What reinforcement schedule best describes Maya's current situation? Probably the easiest reinforcement schedule, or at least compound that you need to know. Because if we think about it, we're looking at Maya and she's driving, so she's driving home. She can either go to this Chipotle that she sees, and she's going to get Chipotle on some sort of reinforcement schedule, right? Maybe it's time or whatever it may be. But she also has the choice of leftovers at her house on a separate schedule than the Chipotle. Let's say it takes 10 minutes to get here and 20 minutes to get here. Well, those are two different reinforcement schedules, two different behaviors, two different outcomes. But Maya has that choice. When we have a situation where our client or a person has a choice in the schedule, what do we call that? Well, we call that a concurrent schedule. These two schedules are operating concurrently. There is a choice involved. A chain schedule, of course, is when the schedules have to be done in order to complete the chain and get the final reinforcement. Mixed and multiple are the same thing where we have an alternating schedules or randomly alternating schedules, except one has an SD and one doesn't. In this case, the reinforcement schedule that best describes Maya's current situation is going to be A concurrent. Celine is a volunteer coordinator at a local nonprofit. She brings fresh pastries and coffee to morning volunteer sessions, chats with volunteers about their interests, and assists them with tasks. Over time, volunteers look forward to working with Celine and respond enthusiastically whenever she gives directions. What strategy is Celine likely using to increase the volunteers' positive association with her presence? Pretty straightforward question here, right? We're looking at Celine, and what is she trying to do? She wants to increase the volunteer's positive association with herself. If we think about what we do in ABA with our clients, we also want to have that positive association when we show up. We want clients to be happy to see us. We want them to be able to work with us. And how do we do that? We do things like building rapport. And when we're building rapport, what are we actually doing? Well, we're trying to pair ourselves with good things, preferred things, reinforcement. Celine brings pastries, brings coffee. She's talking with them, she's assisting them. She's trying to pair herself with all these good things. And so when she comes back, she's paired with good things and positive things, and the volunteers want to be around her. What do we call that? A, non contingent reinforcement. Remember, non contingent reinforcement is an actual strategy, it's an intervention. We are systematically presenting reinforcement on a schedule. Not necessarily what Selena is doing. Selena isn't planning this out to the schedule in a systematic way in order to change behavior, right? She's doing this in order to pair herself with all these positive things in these people's lives. Be careful with non-contingent reinforcement, right? It is an actual strategy that should be very systematic and scheduled, and an antecedent strategy at that. What Celine is most doing is pairing. She's pairing herself with all these other things. C, response cost is obviously a punishment procedure where we're removing something contingent on behavior. Not the case. And then D, shaping. We're not looking at approximations here. What Celine is doing is B, pairing. Notice how we read every answer choice and we identify why the wrong ones are wrong, why the wrong answers are incorrect. That's going to make you very good at the exam. Not only you know why the right answer is right, but why are the wrong answers wrong? Thanks for watching. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials. When you pass, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Please, please, please subscribe, work hard, study hard. See you soon.